you do recall, if you follow the story, that a number of them have been sacked from the national service scheme. They're not happy. The person who appointed them or the person who employed them has asked them to go to court. We understand that that process is ongoing. I've got two of the leaders here in the studio with me, and they'll be telling me what updates there is on this particular matter. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming through.
Thank you.
So I've got Edwin K. Afechi, who is the Municipal Director of NSS New Jabane District. You're welcome.
Thank you, madam.
And also here with me is Rashad Mahama. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Rashad Mahama is Municipal Director, NSS Wenchi in the Bunahafo region. It's good to see you today. We follow the story. I'm just wondering if you've been in touch with Mr. Kwesa White. Have you been in touch with him so far?
Not at all.
Not at all. Give us an update. Have you gone to court? Are you going to court? Will you go to court, as he says?
We will go to court to stop an illegal decision. We are in the process of filing our case. We are mobilizing our documents. And I believe by Monday or Tuesday, we should be in court.
Okay. Yes. What are the release you're going to be seeking in court?
Well, we want the court to restrain the scheme from withdrawing our appointments with immediate effect, as they have put it. Okay.
That's all?
For now.
Okay. Yeah. Really, just for the benefit of our viewers who have not followed the matter, what is the problem? You've been you've been sacked from your post. What happened?
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me point out to you first that Mr. White did not ask us to go to court.
Okay.
We only heard in the media he has advised that we should go to court to protect our job. We are mature enough to know that what has happened is an illegality and we must take court action to stop it. So we have decided as a group, those affected, to go to court. Now, this is what happened. 2 days ago, we were informed that the scheme has written to withdraw our appointments. And their basis are that during the recruitment process last year, the Public Service Commission has written to the scheme to halt the recruitment process because a senior member, or Reverend Mark Andama, has petitioned the Public Service Commission against the outsourcing of our recruitment process. We also understand that they said Mr. White or the board did not heed to their warning, and he went ahead to offer the appointments. So based on that, they felt that due process was not followed, and they are therefore withdrawing the appointments with immediate effect. And we are contending that it is not true. The basis for their decision is false. We also want to place on record that the new executive director was not properly briefed about the situations before he took that decision. And he rushed in taking the decision.
Which of the new executive directors?
We are talking of
Mr.
Isifu Mustafa.
Okay.
That's the current ED, acting executive director.
Okay.
Yes. He was not properly briefed. Before he was appointed, there was this kind of conspiracy emerging that the Reverend Simon McAndama, who is the head of administration at the scheme, was attempting to do this same thing. He wrote a letter on the 19th of January asking the regional directors to ask us to go away until they receive further directives from the headquarters about us. And we were not happy. The letters were given to the management members, heads of department at the head office, and the copies were on their way to the regional directors to instruct us to go away. In fact, in quotes, go away. So we prepared that immediately the letters come, we will head to courts to sue him because he was writing for an executive director who does not exist. He had no such authority to even write that letter. And we even detected that in his letter, the acting head of the place at the time, Dr. Karl Max Ahin, who was the deputy executive director in charge of finance and administration, was not even copied. So we were wondering on what authority the Reverend Mark Andama was writing such a letter. So the following day, we heard that he has withdrawn that letter. However, the letter was already circulating in the social media, and I heard some regional directors also got them. And such withdrawn letter has become the basis for some of the regional directors to call our colleagues to leave their posts and go home.
So was the termination of your appointment was done by phone call? Is that what you're saying?
I was talking about the first attempt before the appointment of the executive director. But this current one was not by phone call. It was a directive by letter to our regional directors.
Is that the letter?
No, that's not a letter. I gave my copy to the lawyer. They instructed the regional directors to inform us that our appointments have been withdrawn with immediate effect. So we should go home and expect a new advert or a new process to start very soon, and we could take advantage and apply again. And we are saying this is wrong.
Okay. Yes. How long have you been working with the scheme?
Well, let me see. As for me, I have worked with the scheme for the past 8 years. I've been a volunteer. During that period, let me put it on record that during that period, the scheme did 2 recruitments. No opportunity was given to volunteers to be employed. They were not given that opportunity to be employed even before others from outside were brought in. There was a point that the Reverend McAndama was even the head of HR when these things happened. There was also a time, 2010, when I was even recommended to replace a retiring staff at Kwewu South District when Reverend McAndama was HR acting. But we didn't know what happened. That never happened. The retiring staff had to continue working, even though he has to go on retirement, and I had to replace him by the recommendation.
So both of you were working at the same time?
Of course, of course. So I waited. I didn't complain. I didn't bother. I continued serving the scheme up to this time last year when the new opportunity came for us to apply. And I did apply. I was shortlisted, called for interview. I went through the process, and I waited till December when I was called that I was successful.
Okay. So at this point, let me bring in Mr. Mahama. Mr. Mahama, you also have been asked to, get out of the system. Basically, your appointment has been withdrawn with immediate effect, and that's why you're contesting it. Yeah, what was the process of recruitment with you?
Yeah, the process was actually a public advert on most of our main newspapers, Daily Graphic, Ghanaian Times, on the NSS website and online, and also via social media. Okay. So the basic requirement was a first degree, and you should have some project management proficiency and all of those things. So we applied on the basis of that advert. And fortunately, some of us were were notified via email that we've been shortlisted for an interview. Okay. I was slated for 8th of November.
Okay, and so on the 8th of November you went there?
I went to the GCB training school at Nungwa, and we went through 3...
Now your office is, sorry to cut you there, your office is in New Jabe.
That is me.
No. Sorry, your office is in Wenchi, exactly. In the Bono region. But the recruitment was done here in Accra. Is that a normal process?
Actually, I don't know the processes involved in recruitment for NSS. But what I know is that for every public sector job, mostly the recruitment is done at the center, and Accra being the center.
But with BA, there should be a recruiting agency or a recruiting department in the BA. The BA national, exactly.
No, there is no human resource outfit in any region except the headquarters.
So you went through the process, and then you went for the interview.
Yes.
You were shortlisted. You were called. And then you're given a job.
Yes, I duly accepted the posting. Okay. Went to report to my regional director as directed by our appointment letters. And then subsequently to my district.
And then you started working?
I wrote my assumption of duty letter and submitted it on the 4th of January.
I see. So why do you think this is happening? If you've gone through the right processes, because one of the issues that have been raised is that the process of recruitment was not correct.
That's...
let me finish.
Yeah. I cannot go into what they think, but I can speak to what they said. Okay. What they are saying is that the process was flawed. Unfortunately, I don't see any flawed process in what I went through and my colleagues went through. Okay, and you wanted to say something, Mr.
Yeah, of course. I mentioned earlier that their basis is that a senior member of staff has petitioned the Public Service Commission that the due process was not being followed.
Was not followed.
In actual fact, they were saying that They did not understand why part of the process should be outsourced to a private company.
Okay, I'll come back to that. But before that, the chairperson of the Public Services Commission, Bridget Kachuku, has been speaking about this matter. Let's hear what she says. And then when I come, I'll engage the two gentlemen on it, and then we'll call it a wrap. Watch this.
We were not aware that the recruitment was done until we received the two petitions. One saying that some people who could have been considered were left out. Another one saying that the recruitment process or the mode of recruitment was not according to the laid down regulations. Yeah, so I would have thought that with the evidence on file, that we have stayed action in order to investigate the complaints. The incoming administration or the incoming executive director would have waited for that action to be completed or come to us to find out exactly what the situation is before he issues the letter either dismissing or terminating the appointment.
To go to court, you need to show, to prove that indeed you have a genuine case and that you were duly employed. Would you say these guys who have been asked to go home were duly employed by the NSS? So that they have a genuine job? Would you say they have a genuine job?
You know, you could be employed and have an appointment letter. That's just the beginning of the employment process. After you have received the appointment letter, there are certain other things you have to do. Even the employer or the government has to do some background check. And after I have done the background check and I know or I realize that you are not the material that I want, I have every right to terminate the appointment at that point. So if that was the situation you met, I mean, the best thing is to come back to us. This is what I met on the ground. What is happening? And then we would even take you through the process that went through and the reasons why we said they should take action. To be fair to those who were appointed, that investigation should be done. Because if the investigation, the conclusion of the investigation is that, yes, there were people to be appointed and yet you went outside those people to bring in new people, then we can say, and I wouldn't, to be fair to everybody who we think have equal right of employment, to be fair to all of them, re-advertise and let everybody apply.
That's chairperson of the Public Services Commission, Bridget Kachuku. They're talking. She basically sounds like she's on your side. But if going to court will cost the NSS, why do you think they're still proceeding and they don't really mind that you're going to court and that they proceeded with relieving you of your post?
Yes, of course. We were even surprised at the action by the executive director because we sensed this kind of thing happening. Some people in the scheme have decided to cause this to happen. So we wanted to draw his attention to it, for him to listen to us, compare the two sides of the story before he goes ahead to say or decide whatever he wants to decide. We actually arranged a meeting with him yesterday. We wanted to meet him yesterday. And he was aware. I gave him a summary of the things we want to discuss.
Okay.
Then a day before we met you, you went to meet some regional directors, and then you decided to sack us. You wrote the letter, and we got a letter. There was a press release, and then your assigns were already on the media defending what you have done. So we heard that he has sent a message to us that, look, I'm not going to listen to you. I've decided. So we are also not going to, bother ourselves going to meet him, but rather we have to defend our jobs. Now, let me reply to something that Madam has just said. At the beginning, she said she was not aware that recruitment was done.
Yes.
In fact, it was the same commission that granted clearance to the scheme to recruit. I have copies of their letters giving the clearance here.
Okay, can I look at this
You
letter
can look
and
at
read
it.
through it? So this is The letter says, re-application for approval to replace staff due to dismissal, retirement, and death. Please refer to correspondence and other discussions to the above-mentioned subject matter. The Commission has thoroughly reviewed your request and other detailed information submitted on the request, and approval is hereby granted to replace 172 exited staff as district coordinators as indicated in your attachment. You are, however, requested to seek financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance for the replacement. So was the clearance from the Ministry of Finance sought?
It was sought and granted.
So this you've got it
Yes.
here as well. Seems like they really put their papers together, haven't they? Financial clearance to recruits. The Ministry of Finance in the letter, and it gives you the reference date, dated August 29, 2016, on the above subject matter, has granted financial clearance to replace 207 staff who exited the scheme through dismissal, deaths, and retirement, and it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
This is signed by Enoch H. Kobner. He is Chief Director for the Ministry of, this is Ministry of Education,
The
is that
finance
correct?
is behind.
Okay, so there's a Ministry
So
of,
granted to the ministry.
okay, I see. So they've got documents, you've got documents to
Yes,
prove
yes.
that your application was,
Yes.
your recruitment was
genuine.
not improper and that it was genuine. But some people in the NSS, who I'm sure you are referring to,
Yes.
raised this matter and said that just before, I think this was after the election,
Yes.
they said they raised concerns that there's some fast-track recruitments going on that they were not very comfortable with. And they accused Mr. Kwesa White, who was then Executive Director, of taking unilateral decisions by going ahead with this recruitment. They said, one of the things they said was that there's an HR department, that the HR department has been sidelined and this recruitment is going on. Was this the recruitment they were referring to?
I believe this is what they're referring to. But they are concerned that there is an HR and she was sidelined. I don't understand. It's an internal affair. It doesn't concern us. We applied for a job that was advertised by the scheme, and we went through every process and we got a job. How they decided to recruit is not a matter of concern to the applicants. Moreover, let me point out one last thing. The Reverend McAndama, the head of administration, who petitioned the Public Service Commission against the outsourcing of the recruitment. He petitioned the scheme, the Public Service Commission somewhere 2nd November. And the commission wrote back to the scheme that they should halt or stay action on the recruitment until they investigate his claims.
Okay.
And then the next day, just 24 hours of the letter from PSC, the scheme or the board has replied the letter of the PSC asking it to stay action. And in fact, they have debunked every allegation that the head of administration has made against the recruitment. And they even made it clear to the PSC that the clearance given by the Ministry of Finance is time-bound. It cannot be used after 31st December 2016. Therefore, the petition having no merit, they cannot stay action on the recruitment. And we must also note that it is the National Service Board that recruits staff for the scheme. The PSC is a regulator. And their letter they even sent, which the madam referred to, was an advice to the scheme that they should stay action on the recruitment until they review the petition. Now,
even though they agreed that they say that they
Yeah.
were not aware of this recruitment.
Yes, I am even surprised she said that, because if you are not aware, somebody has petitioned, and it is the same recruitment you are referring to, that they should stay action on. Now, it's like the woman, by what she has said, the madam, I'm sorry, is not aware of this reply by the board. Because the board has replied you, told you why they cannot stop the action.
Okay.
And you never said anything again. The process has ended. Then 1.5 months later, another letter is popping up from you, the same PSC, asking that you are reiterating your advice that the process should be halted. That cannot apply.
So who are you suing in this case?
We
How
are
many
suing the
people are you
scheme.
suing? You're suing
We are
the
suing
scheme,
the scheme, which is represented by the executive director.
and this case,
And we are
Mr.
joining-
Isif Mustafa.
Yes. And we are joining the head of administration, Reverend McAndama, to the suit, because he tried and made the attempt to do the same thing before the man came to office. And I believe he is the one who advised him to do this.
you believe? Have you
Very
got
well.
evidence to prove?
Well, in an interview, okay.
I
Yes.
think reference has been made to him
Yeah.
as a senior member of the scheme
Okay.
in the letter asking us to, or relieving us of our
Of your duties.
of our duties.
I see.
Yeah.
So Reverend Andama,
Mark Andama.
Reverend Mark Andama
Yeah.
is the head of administration
Yes.
at the National Service Secretariat, and the group. How many of you are there, by the way?
Over 200, 205. I should say.
205.
Yes.
So 205 staff of the National Service Secretariat or National Service Scheme have been dismissed, if you like, have been dismissed, and they are going to court. You two are leading?
Yes.
Okay. Edwin K. Afechi, who is used to be the municipal director of NSS at the New Drabin district, and Rashad Mahama, municipal director for NSS Wenchi in the Bunahafo region, are leading in this suit. They are suing the head of the administration as well as the executive director, Isifu Mustafa. We're trying to reach Mr. Isifu Mustafa to get a reaction or get a response from him about the issues that have been raised, but I'm not sure we'll get through to him. You think he won't pick up deliberately?
We cannot decide.
Oh, okay, because he was smiling and saying something. But anyway, we will still try. But why would they do this to you? Let that be your final word on this matter. Why would they want to relieve you of your post if you you indeed qualify and you went to the scheme through the right processes?
That is what is baffling all of us. That is what is baffling us, because the reasons they are adducing do not even seem to hold water. So we have to test their decision in courts with all these relevant documents and the process by which, look, even the outsourcing that the Reverend has petitioned against, it was the board that took the decision, the board that recruits for the scheme, that took the decision to outsource. So whether it is legal or illegal, I do not think that individuals will decide that. Maybe he could have gone to court to file against that practice by the board.
Isn't that a long process that costs us money as a country at the end of the day?
Of course, the board decides, so the board should be answering that question, not me.
I see. Why do you think they're doing this to you? Why do you think you're being sacked if you're qualified, you have done your job well, and your recruitment process was appropriate?
For the reasons, I still want to hold on to what they've stated in the letter.
Okay.
Otherwise, if it's an issue of qualification, I'm sure most of us are overqualified. Because as I said, I have my MPhil in leadership. So obviously, it's not a matter of degree that should disqualify me as an employee of the service.
Okay.
And many more of us have master's degree.
Okay.
My colleague here is pursuing his master's MBA.
Just to inform you that we volunteers who were in the scheme, who worked between 5 years to 8 years, about 35 of us also went through the process and were employed. And all of us now are being relieved.
You're being relieved of your post. Yeah. Okay. I've been having a conversation with National Service Scheme workers who have been relieved of their post. They've been dismissed by the scheme. They're contesting that decision. By Tuesday, they say they will be in court. Yeah. Mr. Kwesa White himself, who supervised this process, the process of your recruitment, has advised you, like you say, to go to court. So we'll see the outcome, obviously, by next Tuesday. You're still here with me on the Pulse. I'm going to announce some numbers quickly to you. And if you happen to call us before we end the show, you happen to get the Love Concert tickets. Like I said, we've got 2 to give away, and we're looking for our 2 loyal viewers to give those tickets out to. In 4 days, it will be Valentine. Why don't you go and have some fun before Valentine? The number is 0302 21169. 0302 21169. And I've got extension numbers as well. 03. Okay, so 0302 211-691. Okay, it's 0302 211-691. The other number is 0302 211-692. That is 0302 211-692. So I'm waiting for your call. Once your call comes through, and I can hear the telephone ringing, but once your call comes through, you're the first, second caller. You happen to get a Love ticket, a ticket to go for the Love concert tonight. Stay with us.